Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of In Other Words with Danielle and Zara.
So this is a podcast where we talk about a wide variety of different subjects, from book recommendations to sustainability. So in other words, we talk about all the things.
All the things.
All of them.
All of them.
Okay, so a very happy season 4 premiere to you, Danielle.
And to you, Zara. It has been, I feel like...
Yeah, we can't tell the people how long it's been because I don't even know.
It's been, I think, since we last recorded an episode, barring the one that we're deleting, I think it's been over 2 months, right?
Yes, and we don't know exactly when this is going to come out, but we just
hopefully
like to leave
soon.
the people wanting more. I've actually had 2
Yeah.
messages asking when the season is going to premiere.
Yeah,
so
I think
at least
I
people
feel like we
miss
should.
us.
Yeah, I feel like we should release soon. Can't keep
Yes.
Janie Maria waiting forever. I don't know what
No,
she's gonna
we
do with
cannot.
herself.
She's probably just been knitting.
Probably,
There's nothing else
yeah.
to do.
Yeah. So I feel like
so this
today's episode might be a bit of a downer for me
but
personally.
yeah. So basically what we're going to do is we're just kind of going to catch you up on what the last couple of months have been like for us. I don't think there've been major changes, but I think people might just relate, if anything, to a lot of
Yes.
what we're going to say. So
Yeah.
we hope you enjoy and interact with us. But yeah, we're just going to be chatting about ourselves because we're so self-centered.
We are self-centered. And that's okay. I mean, you have to be a little bit self-centered to have a podcast, to be honest.
Exactly. I actually only listen for your voice, Danielle, don't worry.
Thank you. I hate listening to myself personally. I think I sound like an idiot.
I sound like everything I say is a complaint. That's how I feel like I
No,
sound.
you don't. You don't.
Also, a certain someone in my life told me that I read like a grade 5 at a nice Stedford. So
It's okay.
I've become very insecure. But I have a podcast with people who listen, so who's really the loser?
But I told you, only the best grade 5 readers get sent to our Stedfords. So you're the best in your class, Zara. Good job.
I am. Thank you. Thank you. I think I came first in grade 5 overall even.
Really? Of course you did.
Yes.
That is like such a Zara thing to do. Yeah.
Guys, I came first in grade 1. And now I'm a
Like at
pastor.
what? Learning to read.
Yes. I was reading Biff, Chip and Kipper like you don't understand.
Sure. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Danielle, update me.
Okay.
Tell me about life. Tell me about you. Lessons you're learning. All the things.
I'll try. So for me, the past few months have been pretty bad in terms of motivation to do work. So if you're a new listener or you just don't pay attention to me, I am doing my master's in political science. And basically, I don't have classes. I'm just writing a thesis. So it's all just stuff from my own brain, you know, and obviously like articles and books and stuff. But all my ideas are my own and motivation is my own. I have basically no deadlines except for when I have to hand in my thesis.
Yeah. How often do you meet with a
next year.
supervisor?
I try to meet like fairly regularly, but I mean she was on leave for the past like month or so, which is good for her, but not good for me.
Oh shit.
Kidding. I probably wouldn't have done much work anyway. But yeah, I mean, the amount of self-doubt that I feel, and I think that is ultimately where my lack of motivation comes from. It's like just self-doubt because I'm like, oh my gosh, my thesis topic sucks. I can never write a thesis about this topic. And then I literally don't even want to look at what I have written already. Because I mean, I have like a whole research proposal, which is basically like essentially the first chapter, and I'm busy finishing up the first chapter now. And for a while, I was like, I can't even read what I've written because I just know that it sucks and I have to change my topic. And anyway, and then I actually did read it and I was like, oh, it's actually not so bad.
Yeah, sometimes you need that just to kind of like get out of the immediate moment.
Yeah.
And kind of look back and you realize, wow, not so bad.
It's not that bad. Yeah. And that's a good thing because I think if I had to change my topic now, I would absolutely pass away.
Understandable. We are halfway through the year.
Yes, halfway through the year, more than halfway through the year. But yeah, I think that's just been a difficult thing for me. And then obviously, like, it affects everything else because I have my internships on like Mondays and Thursdays, and then if I have to do something at home, then I'll do it at home as well. But most of the time when I'm at home, I want to be doing my thesis, but then I'm so like
Yeah.
unmotivated and like I feel so gross about my thesis that I end up just doing nothing.
Yeah, I
If
get
my
you.
boss is listening, I'm sorry. I do my work when I have to.
Yes.
But yeah,
I know
oh, it's so
exactly what you
difficult.
mean. I was actually thinking about it, and I wonder, and I'd be interested to know what people think and like what studies show now, because since the pandemic, a lot of people haven't even gone back to work. Like the whole nature of work has changed. Like in some countries,
Yeah.
they're moving down to like a 4-day week, and I
Yeah.
have a friend of mine who goes in twice a week, and like I know someone who's like a big time lawyer, and he only goes in twice a week now and does everything else from home. And I find that like before, I think especially when you're in school, there's constantly stuff happening, and sometimes it was nice to just be able to do things at my own pace.
Yeah.
But now when that's become the norm, I feel like it is really difficult to find self-motivation. So I
Yeah.
don't really know what the remedy is for that.
I will say that I don't think the like 5-day work week from like 9 to 5, or for many people like from 9 to 6 or 8 to 5, or I don't know, whatever hours you work, I don't think that's the way to go, to be honest. I think,
Yeah.
that's like pretty sucky. And I think
Yeah.
if I had to drive to town every single day, I would die. The traffic sucks and it takes up 2+ hours of my day,
Yeah, I think the
And
only
that's-
way the traffic
not good.
is kind of like manageable is if you're listening to, in other words, while you drive.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's depressing.
Too
Yeah, I
bad,
will
in other
say-
words, can't pay my fuel prices.
Do you know that I actually had that on my list of things, my catch-up list?
Really, petrol?
Yes, guys, it is unacceptable.
It's unbelievable.
Like, I think our biggest age gap of people listening is age 18 to 22. And I think at that age, some people are probably paying for their petrol, and some people are probably, because they're studying, their parents are still paying for their petrol.
Yeah.
Just enjoy that. But it has been so tough because I don't drive like to town twice a week like you do. But the little distances
It
actually
takes up so
add up.
much.
And I drive to Durban because all my friends just love me so much. They just want to visit me all of the time. And it is crazy, like bizarre to me. So
Terrifying.
I don't know if that's hit
Stupid
anyone
Russia.
else as hard. Stupid Russia. But yeah, it's been quite a train wreck. I actually have a question for those who are kind of interested in this. You can skip over this part if this is completely boring to you. But you know that the government kind of did their best to keep petrol prices low by signing a couple of deals and stuff. And they've done that because there were times where our petrol price would have been even
Very
more
high.
hectic than it's been. And so on the one hand, we get people complaining that the government should be doing better. But at the same time, they're putting things in place that's going to land us in debt as a country long term. So what do you think the remedy is there? Is it okay to like put us in debt because it helps people now, or have people not be able to get around now so that our country does not plummet further into economic crisis? As a political major, I want your answer. You're not an economics major, but just pretend.
Not at all. Well, I think the real option, and this is literally like not related, this is neither of the options that you talked about.
Okay,
I
so
think
this is a big
the
brain
solution,
option.
yeah, I think the solution is to get public transport sorted out, because
True.
like if you think about all the people, just for example, driving into Cape Town every single day, so you have one person per car, right? Imagine if you could have 50 of those people on a bus or on a train, and instead we're having 50 people in 50 cars, unless you're like doing a carpool, but
which very
most
few
don't
people
do that.
do.
No, it's very difficult. So I think that to me seems like the best option, and maybe it's very idealistic, but I mean, surely we can sort that out.
in a province like the one that you live in, like that
Yes.
could be a great priority. At the moment, we barely have roads that work.
Yeah.
So
You need roads
maybe-
that work to have transport that works. That's true.
Exactly. It's crazy. Almost every single day there's like a major like crash or delay on the N3 between Pietermaritzburg and Durban. It is something of a ridiculous magnitude, and it blows my mind. Anyways,
Anyway,
go home. Okay,
It's okay.
speaking of
One day.
cars, I will
Speaking
tell
of
the people
cars.
about my recent situation.
please do.
So I was in a car accident, which was quite bleak. I think especially what was really tough was it was 2 days after Sean had left. So he'd been here for 3 weeks, and then the car accident
Wait, pause. I think that's the first time you've said his name on this podcast.
happened. Really?
I think you usually say your friend, your bestie.
Bestie.
Yeah. Congratulations. Okay.
Thank you so
Anyway,
much.
carry on.
Yeah, it's been like over 6 months now, so it's fine. We hope it's gonna stick
It's
if I
fine.
don't get really, really like bored or annoyed, you know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it was 2 days after he left, and I was driving down my street, and a little boy didn't stop at a stop street, and so he essentially drove right into my car, and yeah, so
his
it took
bike?
like on his bicycle, and it was the most horrifying moment because I think you think that like it happened so fast, but it almost happened in slow motion because we literally locked eyes just before it happened, and I just couldn't brake in time. And so like the front bumper of my car, obviously that came off, and then his wheel knocked my bonnet, and then he went like through my whole windscreen shattered, and then his head knocked the top of my car and he fell off the back. And it was the most bizarre thing. And I just praised the Lord that he's okay. And it was like obviously quite a traumatic thing for him, probably. And for
100.
me- And for me, I will say though, I am very thankful for my brain because I've actually been okay. But something that I actually just want to share because it's so crazy to me is like this is the worst of the worst. Not the worst of the worst, but it was a really terrible thing to have to happen. And I think I'm like, oh, really, Lord, like not a fun time. Like on a surface level, I had my car serviced and that was fun 2.5K 2 days before, and oh my God, I was in an accident. But the thing that was so incredible is I don't know if the boy would have been okay if he didn't have his helmet on, just because his head had direct contact and he landed on his head. And I'm just like, thank you, Lord, that he had his helmet on. So like cyclists, please stop at stop streets and have your
wear a
helmet on.
helmet. Oh my gosh.
But what was so amazing is obviously I jumped out of the car and ran to him and started screaming. In fact, the one lady that was there, she's like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone scream that loudly. She's like, how did such a big voice come out of such a little body? I'm like, yeah, don't mess with me.
Sorry, it does have a very loud voice.
I have a habit of saying important things really loudly, but then some important things really, really softly. So there's just no in between.
No in between.
But what was so incredible is that, first of all, the weather was pretty decent, which is not always the case this side of the world. And it happened, I kid you not, right next to the police station. So the first person who heard me scream that came running out was the lady who's literally head of the car accident department of the police station. And then the police officers that came out, like they have all the ambulance details, like their personal details of the paramedics. So literally like they phoned personally, and I just didn't have to like deal with any of that, which was fantastic, and I'm very thankful. But the one thing that I think was a lesson in here is people, make sure you know your emergency numbers, because in that moment I just blanked and I was like, I don't know who the heck to call right now. I'm like, what is our emergency number? Because I feel like it's changed. What is it, Danielle?
Isn't it I don't know. I always knew the 10111.
Yes.
Is that not it? Yeah.
I don't think so. But what
Oh,
was
no.
crazy? Yeah, what was crazy is like for a second, like I was like, I don't know who to call. I don't know what to do. So I just started shouting. But I have my insurance app on my phone, and you go into the app, you click emergency, and it gives you all of them. So guys,
Yeah.
download an app and be prepared for those kinds of situations, because I feel like I was not prepared. I was prepared in Alo for stop, drop, and roll when there's a fire. But other than that, nothing else really.
Yeah. I mean, how could you be prepared for that though? Like,
No. And like my
so
first concern was this
unexpected.
little boy, and I was like, But yeah, so be prepared. My car was a write-off, which is kind of sad.
Sucky. Yeah.
Quite sad. Yeah, and that's still a little bit suspect to me because there was no like engine damage. So I'm like, anyways, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We move. Currently
It
looking
is what
for
it
a
is.
car. If anyone is giving away cars, hit me up. But yeah,
Slide into her
that was
DMs.
that was a formative experience. Interestingly enough, though, sorry to go on and on, but just in terms of like traumatic experiences and stuff, and specifically car accidents, like it's one of the number one things that people, struggle with.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to my psychologist, and she said because she said it's very natural to have dreams afterwards, and I did actually have 2 dreams of car accidents the 2 weeks after. But she said that's normal, but if it persists more than 6 weeks, then you most likely have PTSD. But
Sure.
they say that the most important thing in most traumas, unless it's a trauma where you can't necessarily do this, is try and metaphorically and literally get behind the wheel as soon as possible. And so, like, if you've been in a car accident, because I have a friend who was in a car accident and I don't think she's driven in a year. And
Really?
I feel so terrible for her.
Ew.
But they often say that like the sooner you can face your fears and get behind the wheel, the better it is long term. So I kind of didn't have a choice, which is why I did. But yeah, if you've been through something really difficult, like even like a death of someone in a specific place, and then you just avoid that place at all costs, that's not good for your mental health long term. So fun trauma facts for you.
Fun trauma facts with Zara. Okay, I think for me, the next thing I want to speak about is I have been struggling a bit. I'm always struggling, apparently.
It's okay. Life is a struggle.
It is. With health anxiety. So I'm sure everyone gets this, but I'm the kind of person, and this also runs in my family, is that we get very anxious about our health, and there'll be at least a few times a year where I convince myself that I have cancer, 100%. Which
Your
is
parents
stupid and
aren't
a horrible
like
way
that,
to
hey?
live. Have you met my dad?
Really?
He's very much like that. Yeah.
Never known that about Simon.
Yeah. I mean, I think whenever something happens with us kids, if I have a cough or whatever, my dad will oh, do you need to go to the hospital because
But I think
of my lung
because
thing.
the fact that your lung collapsed, there's kind of like an explanation. It's not like he's just
Yes, but he is
randomly
also
a hypochondriac sometimes.
No, he's not a hypochondriac, but we don't mess around with
Okay, that's not a bad thing.
health. Yeah, but it's all
At the same time, you're like, Dad, I pay for my own medical aid now, so you can take me to the
don't.
doctor if you want. Oh, don't
I
you?
don't pay for my own medical aid. No. But
your
I do
medical
pay
aid
for
is
all my doctor's
annoyingly more
appointments because they don't
expensive.
pay for anything.
That's the thing. We should do an episode on
So
health system. Screwing us
so
over.
stupid. So yeah, I've been going through that. So there'll be times where I'm literally just feeling stuff on my neck, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's a lump for sure. And then I tell my mom, and she's like, no, I think that's literally just a vein.
Yeah, your mom's
I'm
your mom's a nurse.
no.
I'm probably the more calm one.
Yes. So
Shame, friend.
yeah, so so it sucks, and I have to just kind of get myself to not think that way. But then I'm thinking, okay, what if I what if I question myself so much that if I do have something wrong with me and then I don't go to the doctor because I think I'm being silly, it's that kind of
100%.
that kind of thinking.
I think what's difficult about your health, because I don't think I have that to that extent, but it's our bodies are actually so complex that it is so difficult to figure out, is this thing that's happening, why this other thing is happening, or they're not related. So for example, I don't even think this is TMI at this point in this podcast, but I'm currently on, I think, day 56 or day 57 of my cycle, and I still haven't gotten a period.
Rough.
And so there's that. But then, as you know, I've been struggling with my skin, and I've never struggled with my skin. And I think it's getting a little bit better. But it's like, okay, is my period the reason for my skin? Or is my skin as a result of like, even like the water changing, like you said, like the fact that it started when I moved. But then it's like my skin could be a result of stress. So could my period. And it's like all over the place. And it's like you physically can't be going to the doctor every second day about something.
No.
And like the thing is, you Google and they give you like the worst of the worst.
You're dying.
Yes. So I don't know, it is very difficult to live in this world.
I know. And it's like, I don't know, you hear so many stories of people going to the doctor just for like a regular checkup, and then they find out, oh, flip, I have this disease and I would never have known if I didn't go to the doctor. Anyway, it is just very annoying. And ultimately, it's okay. Most things are as a result. Well, most things for me, everything that goes wrong with me is usually as a result of stress. Like if I'm getting sick, it's probably because I was stressed and like tired.
If your eye starts twitching uncontrollably.
It does. It's very annoying. I've had a sore back as well. Stress. And like
then it's like, is my lower back sore, or do I have kidney failure? Like
I've literally thought that before, because that was last year. My lower back was so sore, and I thought,
I
my
think
kidneys are probably failing me right now. Yeah.
But I mean, you've had a lung collapse, so it's like, is it that far off? There's probably that. Yeah, it's not.
I do think it's some trauma from that experience in my life. Yeah. Anyway.
We
we moved.
Okay. On that note, how has your general mental health been?
Yeah. Well, okay. I would say that I'm fairly I'm fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Apart from the whole lack of motivation and self-doubt thingy with my thesis, I'd say overall I can still enjoy life mostly, except a few days before my period, and then I think that I will never be happy again. Yes. And I've spoken about that before.
Yes.
But yeah, it's all right. We were chatting about this the other day between each other, but we can also talk a bit about it now, because I think many people will relate. And it's just this, I feel like both of us, we've said we've been feeling very lazy at the moment, just very difficult to get going in the day, spending a lot of time on our phones. And I've been feeling that way for quite a while. And I had to delete certain social media apps because I get stuck in a cycle, and then I just go on to the next social media app.
Lovely. I think what's frustrating is I also, I spend a stupid amount of time on my phone doing absolutely nothing. It's not even like I'm scrolling to the point where I don't even know how to explain it, because I'll spend an hour on my phone and I'll walk away and I'm like, I saw nothing.
Literally. There was nothing. I don't even
remember what I saw.
Yeah.
So, I know exactly what you mean. And interestingly enough, I've just been beating myself up so much, because on the 2 days that I can actually sleep in, I will sleep until 11:30. And
hectic.
It's
that's half the day gone. Yeah.
That's how I feel. So then I feel awful. Then it's I struggle to actually get done. And then I'm like, Zara, why are you so lazy? Because it's not I need the physical rest. You know what I mean? I'm not working this job where it's super high power and I'm under so much anxiety and I'm working till 12. That's not the case, and I'm not a student anymore. So I don't stay up doing essays till ridiculous hours.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to my psychologist, and she said it's not so much laziness. It's probably just a downturn in your mood. So she's like, you have to force yourself to get up, Zara. Ask a friend to phone you awake and make sure you stay awake. Because she's like, that's kind of how depressive episodes start, where you just feel the need to sleep in and you feel lazy, but it's not so much a laziness more than an apathy.
Yeah, exactly.
So if anyone's feeling like that, just know you're not alone. And
You're
I
not
think a way
alone.
to combat it is like even just telling you how I feel last week. Just like she just like sent a long WhatsApp, and then just saying it out loud actually made me feel
Yes.
better. So sometimes you just
Yeah.
need to vent, but I
Yeah.
think lots of us feel that way.
I find, I mean, I also have just been struggling to get out of bed. Not so much on the days where I actually have to go to work, because then I feel like
So during the week,
I wake up
get
and I'm
up,
like, cool,
I go to
I'm
work.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then every other day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't get out of bed. I just want to lie in bed. And then my dog Peggy comes into my room and she lies on my bed with me, and then we have a little nap together. And I actually just need to get out of bed though.
Yeah.
She's very cute. But
She is very cute.
yeah, I find, and I was saying this to you as well, but I'm very much, I've been in this sort of mentality where it's like all or nothing, right?
Yeah.
So if I don't get working at, let's say 10 o'clock in the morning, which is late for some people, but that's usually that's when I want to be working.
Yeah.
So if I'm not working by 10, then I'm like, well, there's actually no point in me doing anything. I've wasted so much time already, so I might as well just like not. Which is obviously a very stupid thing to do, but you know, it's once you get into that mindset, it's like really, really difficult to break out of it.
Yeah.
And so I've had to sort of tell myself, you know, it's not about perfection, it's about consistency, you know? So even if I only start working at like 12, right? Even if I only do 1 hour of work on my thesis, that is so much better than not doing anything.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah. Otherwise, what else can you tell us?
Well, basically, okay, well, we're talking about phones, so
yes,
let's get talking about social media.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
I am so tired
of America.
Yeah, yes, of course.
Yes.
But mostly like people are so, I think the term is chronically online.
Oh my
So
gosh.
this is, yeah. So I will sometimes, like, I will be scrolling on TikTok, having a good time, you know, literally just entertaining my stupid little brain. And
don't speak
I
to
will
yourself
see
like
people-
that. You have a big brain.
a smart big brain.
Yes.
And, you know, someone will post, let's say a TikTok, or someone will post something on Instagram or Twitter, and you'll get these comments, right? And they're like, this is offensive because you didn't say this particular thing. And I'm like, why can't people, obviously, unless they're being completely offensive, why can't people just say what they want and not have to think about literally every single nuance, about every single topic? That is exhausting.
For sure.
And it makes me feel exhausted.
I feel like that. I like genuinely get worked up. Like 2 recent experiences was I actually sent it to you. So Jensen Arnold, the dancer, she recently had a baby. And she's shared her whole pregnancy birth journey. Like that's a part of her brand, if you will. And so she was breastfeeding, but you could literally see nothing. You knew that the baby was feeding, but you couldn't even see like any of her boob really. And like people like sent her DMs. Like who goes and DMs someone saying like this made me feel uncomfortable or this was inappropriate? And I'm like,
don't watch then.
Yeah, just go out of it. And then, oh my gosh, another dancer, Whitney, that I follow. She took a picture with her baby. I think he's like almost 2. And they were on a lake or whatever. And people were commenting, and I've seen this before. They're like, oh, why can't she put a life jacket on her baby? And she's so irresponsible. And I'm like, do you really think that you care more about that baby's safety than the baby's mother? I'm just like, and then I know it's like, Zara, like, get over it, but I get so angry.
I know.
And it's like when you're already in a bad mood, it's like, like I see people post things about like climate change being fake and like the most bizarre things. And I remember I complained to you, I'm like, Danielle, I don't have time. And I sent it to someone else and their response was, I just need to go and leave and go far away. And your response was just unfollow. And I'm like, nah. Get so angry.
But genuinely, no, I get the same. And like I've been through many stages in my life. Like I'll be following someone or friends with someone, but mostly I'll follow someone and then they'll say something that really irritates me, and I'm like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. They're allowed to have their opinions. But I find sometimes just, and I've said this so many times, the best option is sometimes just to unfriend or unfollow because you're not obligated to follow anyone, actually.
No.
Like, you don't have to. No one cares. In the greater scheme of things, it means nothing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And
I
like, you
think-
don't want to feel bitter towards a person because of
Yeah.
things they post on social media, you
No,
know?
it doesn't
So I find like,
necessarily determine who they are as a person.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it completely ruins everything good about them just because you maybe sit on different pages with things.
exactly.
And something I've learned, I've never been like an avid commentator, as in
Yes.
commenting on people's posts. But
Yes.
especially during the pandemic, like I would like comment, like when certain things
Oh,
pissed
so
me
would
off.
I. Yeah.
And I've kind of just learned to like let it slide. Like I'll vent to a person and then just let it slide, because at the end of the day it's that
Yeah.
person's social media. If they're not causing any like super direct harm, then you know, I don't know, I've kind of just gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to look after your own mental health. And if you're feeling like every time you go on Facebook or Instagram and you feel like irritated,
Yeah.
like that's not a good thing, you know?
For sure.
So
For sure.
think about that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this will be a nice little positive update from me.
Yes.
This is not relatable to anyone else except for me and my family, but we went on a really, really nice holiday.
The elephants.
to-
We can even just
Yes,
post a
up
picture of an
to-
elephant on our Instagram to make people smile.
We
I
can.
think we
We
should do
should.
that.
Yeah. So we went up to the Manyaleti Game Reserve, which is basic. I'm not good at geography, so I'm not going to tell you where it is.
Somewhere
But
in the
basically,
Kruger.
it's okay. So it's part of Kruger in the sense that the animals can go back and forth, but like Manyaleti is its own game reserve, so humans can't
Okay.
go back and forth.
Humans.
So the history of Manyaleti, if you're interested, and this is what the game ranger told me, so if it's false, then it's not my fault. But basically, the Kruger National Park was created,
By
I
the
can't remember what
Lord.
year, but a very long time ago. And it was made to be like a reserve for white people, right? So then the Manyaleti Game Reserve was then created as its own little game reserve for
People like me.
people who were not white. Yeah, like black people, you know,
People who are
apartheid
me.
things,
Whatever
which-
that means. Whatever I am. Check
Yeah.
our racism episode,
So-
guys.
check our racism episode, amen to that. And then when apartheid ended, then they kind of put the parks together, but they're still like separate,
Yes.
you know, but everyone can go to every park, which is
Praise
so
the Lord.
nice. Yes, but it was really wonderful, and we stayed in this camp called the Mantubeni Honey Guide Camp, which is really cool, and I showed you lots of pictures because it's an
Yes.
open camp, so the animals can actually just come back and forth. There's no
So
fences.
beautiful.
So like elephants would come and drink out of the pool, and there were elephants like really close to our tents, which was a bit scary, but you just keep your distance and they're fine.
Yeah.
We saw amazing animals, and yeah, it's so cool to see like God's creation. But there's
Just
not
be-
like so many humans and houses everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yes,
literally
for
like, oh, this
sure.
is what he created South Africa to look like.
Yeah,
So-
for sure.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. Do you have
I
another
have
update for me?
Two more.
Okay.
Okay, so the one is, this is just an encouragement to all my Jesus loving people, is I find, and I think you can find this, it's a little bit more when you're in full-time ministry, but any kind of ministry that you're involved in, like you can't see things on spreadsheets, you know? And so it's kind of like, I'm like, am I even making a difference? Especially even if you're not in ministry and you're like, I'm supposed to be building the kingdom, but like I just go to work every day. Like, am I being like
Yeah.
a significant contributor? And I don't know, the Lord just kind of reminded me that it's like He does the work, and we just like
Yeah.
need to be faithful. And so that's been a good reminder for me as of late. Like, it's not about church
Yes.
attendance. It's not about like tangible things that you can see immediately all the time. Like, God does things and we don't always see them. So that is a little encouragement.
Amen to that. And it's all about the way you live. I always find, you know,
For
like
sure.
there is worth in like sharing about Jesus or about God.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like a lot of people who don't know Jesus or like you aren't a Christian, like they kind of know the story. You
Yeah,
know?
they don't
And it's
want
like,
you to like be like, so let me tell you about Jesus. All these. I mean, sure, it works
like,
sometimes.
cool, I already know about that.
Yeah.
Like there's worth in it, but it's ultimately like how you live and like,
Yeah.
are you living in a way that like Jesus lived? You know,
Yeah.
ultimately it's about that. And believe me, that is very difficult.
Yeah,
We
for
all
sure.
struggle, and there's so many times where I'm simply not feeling in a friendly mood, so I don't talk to
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Introvert things, but also not really. It's just shy things, I guess.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
The one thing though
Yeah,
that
it's
I
difficult.
recently, it's my new saying, is the gospel doesn't take root through conferences. The gospel takes root through relationship.
Yeah.
Like some people can be
Amen
all
to
in the
that.
mood because there's so many people and the aircon is blowing and the lights are down low and the music's good and it's like, I love Jesus. And then they walk out and it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I know what you mean.
yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
Well, basically, I just wanted to speak about things that I've been watching.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Guess who's on
So
season 3
unfortunately,
of Gilmore Girls?
are you?
Yes.
I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
I was really scared that you were going to watch like a few episodes and be like, Danielle, I don't like this.
So
but
I don't.
I'm forcing you.
It's like not my favorite show ever, but what I like about it is it's easy watching.
Yeah.
Especially for someone who watches serial killer documentaries. So you're already like not in a great space emotionally. Like it's probably not feeding your soul. But what I like about it is that it's just like very easy watching. Like I can put it on while I'm doing stuff, and it's like wholesome.
It's
like
wholesome.
properly
Exactly.
wholesome. So
Yeah. My favorite thing about Gilmore Girls is like the dialogue. There's like so many times I'm literally like,
Lorelai, the things she
what?
says, like the fact that she'll make like a super like poignant pop culture reference, but then she'll be talking about like Funny Girl, and like when her and her ex-boyfriend had like an argument, they were speaking up. They were like the argument about maturity turned into an argument about how it's like, but you like this kind of band. It's like 3 or 4 of the same chords over and over and over again, and then slap it on a single, and it's like this life-changing song, and that's stupid. And it's like their whole argument when they use like music as a metaphor for their irritation with each other. It's so good.
I know.
Yeah.
It's very clever.
Yeah,
But yeah,
for
it's like
sure.
it's also not my favorite show ever, but like it's so wholesome.
Yeah.
And like I said, I binged it last year when I had COVID, so it accidentally became like a comfort show for me. So
Yeah.
at the beginning of this year, I was feeling like stressed. I just put on Gilmore Girls, and I was like, wow,
I love it.
this is so comforting, actually.
I love it. Yes, for sure.
Anyway, so Stranger Things season 4 came out, and it was wonderful. I loved it.
Was it? I heard it was like scarier
yes.
than other seasons. Is scarier the word?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a word. So here's the thing, right? Like, I almost think of it like, you know, like in Harry Potter, it starts off like pretty wholesome and then it gets darker.
Yes.
And like,
Even
it's pretty much the same thing.
Even the filter gets darker.
Yes. No, exactly. Yeah, but I also think people have kind of forgotten how scary Stranger Things was from the beginning. So obviously, like the vibes do feel different because I mean, in season 1, the kids were all like 12 years old, and now they are much older.
Yeah.
But I rewatched all of it after watching the first part of season 4 because it came out in 2 parts, and I rewatched all of it, and I was like, you know what, Stranger Things, like, it's kind of a horror show. I mean, it's wholesome, but it's also like it is scary. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what happens because I still want you to watch it at some point. But
Okay.
yeah, it is just a very good show. But yeah, a lot of people didn't like the ending of season 4. I personally liked it. I think it leaves a lot because there is 1 season left. I think season 5.
Okay.
So a lot of people are like, oh, season 4 felt so unfinished, and I'm like, yeah, because there's season 5 coming, you silly people.
Yes.
But yeah, I loved it. And I also watched Succession, and that I watched on Showmax.
Is that the show that your dad said you must watch, but there's so much swearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But yeah, I watched it. There is a lot of swearing. Okay.
Swearing.
What is brilliant about Succession? And like, listen here, I'm not recommending that anyone goes to watch it, So in case anyone says, "Oh, Danielle, you're making people fall," I'm not. I'm not recommending anything.
No.
What is so brilliant about the show, though, is that they've taken these characters where literally, I don't think there's a single like likable character in that show.
We love that.
And like they're all
A
bad
mess.
people,
Yes.
but like they were just written so brilliantly that
Yeah.
it's like, wow, you know, it's like a train wreck and you kind of just have to watch it.
I think what I enjoy shows where there's not a clear protagonist per se.
Yeah.
And even the protagonist is like morally like
morally
suspect.
grey.
Yeah, because it just feels like it's more of a reflection of real life. Like, no, they're not villains per se,
Yes.
but they make mistakes, which is like we make mistakes. So
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
you.
It's a good show. It's not morally good per se, but like you don't watch it and want to become like the characters.
Yes,
So
get
it's kind of
you.
showing you what not to do.
Okay, cool. Well, there's a lesson
Anyway,
in
yeah.
that.
There's a lesson.
Love that. And then another thing, and I always say people interact and they never do. So hear this as my begging and pleading with you to send us DMs, comment on YouTube and on Instagram at _podcast.
Yes.
But I was thinking about it, and I feel like I'm not like a long distance relationship pro, but a lot of relationships, especially when you leave school, like there's a certain level of intentionality that is required in order to stay friends with people. And so I'm interested to know like how people deal with that and how it's like you choose to kind of let a friendship be seasonal and move on, or like how much work things like that take. So I'd be interested to know if that's something that people are interested in and if they have any input.
Yeah, that'd be a good
Yes.
episode. I think I could learn a lot from that because, yeah, friendships are really difficult to keep up when you're not seeing people,
For sure.
you know?
But don't
Yeah.
you guys fear, Danielle and I are still besties even though I'm so far away.
Exactly.
Yes. I think that I'm going to be home in September, whoop whoop, for a week. And then I actually think that I'm probably going to arrive in November on your birthday. It's looking like my flight will be the 30th. So we'll just...
What a great day.
a great
That's a wonderful day.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of
I want
all
to do...
that I have to say.
Sorry.
You want to do?
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else. Oh, yeah. I want to do the wine tram for my birthday. It's so much fun.
Did you know that my mom was actually saying the same thing? She's like, we should do it when
Really?
you're here. I'll do it twice, no problem. I just invited
Perfect.
myself to your birthday. You're welcome.
Wonderful. Yeah, I don't have anything else to discuss either. I was going to chat maybe about the books I've been reading, but I think we can save that for when we actually do our book episode. Because I want to do that this season. So Zara, start reading books.
I read a book a month.
Good.
Yes, this month is the only month where I've not read and completed a book. And I'll tell you why. Because this month, Sean and I decided to read the same books. So like at the same pace.
Oh, that's cute.
And trying to coordinate that is just like a little bit of a mission.
Yeah.
So I was like, you ruined my whole system. And he's like, babe, think about it literally. By the end of the year, you'll reach 12 because whenever we finish it, like there'll be a month where you finish 2 books. So yes, but I am starting Basil Sparks Unshackled on Monday and I'm very excited. Yes.
Good.
That'll be my promotion next episode. It'll be Basil's book.
Nice. Well, hopefully it's good.
Oh yeah, maybe I should wait.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. All right.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys. I don't know if you loved this episode, but just trust us when we say this is a lot better than the first time we tried to record this episode.
It was so much
bad.
better. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
It was not a good time.
no, I would have cancelled us after that episode. Not because it was scandalous,
Cancelled.
but because it was so boring and dumb.
So boring. Like, I don't think, with that episode, we're not allowed to be podcast hosts and release that kind of episode. No, thank you.
Let that just be a message to you guys that we actually care about the content we put out there.
We do care. You wouldn't think so, maybe, but we do.
Okay, guys. Well, let us know what you want to hear from us this season, because we'll start releasing while we're still planning and doing the season. So we'll hopefully get.
Yes.
And a lot of you sent in a bunch of music for us to listen to and review.
Yes.
Like, how many songs did we get, dude? Like
I feel like it was over 30 for so many.
So yeah, like it was a flippin' long playlist that we've had to put together, and we'll probably cut it short. But don't worry, that episode's coming, so we're excited.
Yeah, it'll be a while though, unfortunately.
Yes. But
It'll be there. It'll be fun.
We won't let you down.
Yeah.
Unless we hate your music, then I'm sorry. Anyways.
So what's our outro?
Oh yes.
Remember, sharing is caring.
So share this podcast.
In other words.
Yes, in other words. Share this podcast with everyone you know. Yes.
Amen to
Wonderful.
that. Okay.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.